Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we are going to learn about the new features in Maya 2016. And the features we're going to discuss today are mainly to highlight those features that were incorporated in 2015 and 16. Many of you previously have probably been doing Maya tutorials using 2014. And if you are jumping from 2014 into 2016, there's a lot of new features and methods to incorporate into your workflow. So let's get started. When I open up Maya, what you'll notice is a highlighted element. So everything that's highlighted in green within your interface, you can see this little ball up here is going to be a new feature. So that's the first place to look. And also, it's good to keep this on for a while if you're a newer user or a beginning user to help kind of guide you throughout the Maya process. So I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to start by just looking at the interface, and you'll see there's some changes here. Some of the major changes are the graphical nature in which some of the icons are being described. The toolbar is a little different looking. It lacks a little color here or there. And also, you may have noticed that your background is a different color. So I'm holding the Alt key and the B as in boy key, and I'm hitting the B key, and that changes my background. So that's a good way to kind of reset the background to your liking. What they've done in Maya 2016 is they've kind of combined tools and menus to make your workflow more efficient. And at first glance, it may seem a little bit cumbersome, but once you start using the tools, I promise you will be happy that they did this. For instance, if you're familiar with 2014 Maya, we've had a lot more subset menus to deal with. For instance, there was no modeling menu, there was a polygons menu, and then there was a surfaces menu. Well, what they've done in this modeling menu is they combined all the tools you could ever use to make a model, whether it's polygons, NURBs, or subdivisions, and combined them all into one massive list. So we have curves, we have surfaces, and we even have our deformations that previously were held in the animation menu. So it's kind of all-in-one shopping now, which is really, really nice. You'll notice you still have your attribute editor and your channel box, and those are accessible up here at the top of the screen. And one of the very newest features that was in 2015 that came out is the modeling toolkit. And this modeling toolkit is going to be something we're going to explore here in a moment. So take a quick look around, kind of try to find where all your favorite buttons and tools were. If you previously have watched any of my Maya 2014 tutorials, everything that is not in green or that I don't talk about is pretty much the same. So I'll continue to put out a few more videos here to help kind of guide you through this transition. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to create a polygon cylinder. And I'm going to turn on my wireframe on shaded. Again, the icons are a bit different than they usually were in Maya. And you know, your move tools are similar. You'll notice that the HUD or the heads-up display of the move tool is slightly different. So you can move along specific axes and whatnot. There's a lot of neat things you can do with that. But let's go ahead and start kind of sculpting out this polygon shape. So let's take a look at it real quick. Now typically we would go to our edit mesh or our mesh tools in previous versions of Maya to utilize some of these new tools. Now you'll see some tools you know, for instance the insert edge loop tool, and you'll also see some that you may not recognize, for instance the multi-cut tool. There are also tools like the split polygon tool or that is no longer there, and tools like the target weld tool that is introduced new this year in Maya. In the modeling toolkit, you'll notice some of the most commonly used tools are here for your disposal. So it's kind of like a quick hotkey of custom tools, and you can also add to that later on if you see fit. So what we're going to do is, for instance, we're going to use our insert edge loop tool to just get started here. And you know, the process of doing the insert edge loop tool by going up here and hitting this button or even making a shelf with this button is getting kind of dated because we want to smooth things along and we want things to be very fast. You'll notice when I add or subtract from a selection, it gives me a plus and minus sign whenever I do that, and that's a really great tool tip. So you can see if I add to the selection and hold the shift key, I get a plus and minus. It's very, very nice. So if we were making a barrel of some sort, you never know, we'll kind of just start playing around with this shape. let's go ahead and see some of the faster ways of modeling. So the first way of fast way of modeling is utilizing some of the multi-tool ideas in the multi-component modeling toolkit. So for instance, I can turn my symmetry on and perhaps set it to Z-space, and now whatever I select, you'll notice it grabs the other side. So this may be a really nice modeling step for you, and I can simply turn it off when I'm kind of done with it. Now, I tend, in previous versions of Maya, to always make my own shelf or go up into the tools kit and kind of play with these tools. But what I'm doing for this version of Maya is I've been using a lot of flyout menus. What is a flyout menu? Well, a flyout menu is the menu when we hold our right mouse button down, that the menu that pops up. Now, some of you may have found other menus. If you hold your space bar down, you basically get all the different tools from here in one giant menu. So that's holding spacebar, and I can go to create polygons, and it makes it a little faster. If I hold my command and my shift key down, I get a selection menu that helps me deal with the symmetry. You can see if I just drag back to the circle, or snapping, and we can go back by dragging to the circle, or selection preferences, like do you like that it highlights it, do you like that you can use a marquee, and so forth. So that's a very nice way to kind of work. Now if I hold my shift key alone down, it opens up tools like my insert edge loop tool. So I can go ahead and insert that edge loop, and that makes it really nice. Now let's move this edge loop. And if I move it up and down, you can see it kind of shapes my, if maybe I'm making a trash can or something, it kind of shapes my model in a unique way. Well, what if we wanted to just move this edge and we didn't want to mess with the outside edge? Let's say we got this edge or this contour the way we liked it. Well, now we have the access of using edge slides or surface slides, and those are transform constraints. With a slide in place, you can see some wiggling, but what it will do is move it just up and down, and notice it's not changing the shape, it's just moving it into place. And now when I turn that off, I can get a lot nicer shaping. So that's a very cool tool that they've added, and a functionality that they've added in for us to use. Now, typically I use the insert edge loop tool a lot. Well, I've been recently using the multi-cut tool. The multi-cut tool, which you can see is also down here in tools, kind of replaces our tool that used to be called the split polygon tool. And so you can see we can make like a closed surface here if we want to make a shape in there. It's very, very nice, but one of the coolest ways to use it, and I'm going to undo this, is to hit the control, not the command key, and with that it gives us our own instant edge loop tool. So this is kind of like your Swiss Army knife all-in-one tool that you would need. So if you have your multi-tool selected, or multi-cut tool, we can simply go into here and kind of make our shape of what, whatever we decide to kind of model here. And it becomes really, really nice. Those of you who are used to merging vertices, it's changed slightly. We still can merge vertices the old-fashioned way. So if I can get there, I can still go to Edit Mesh, Merge. That's fine. But now I have the target weld. So let's, for instance, say we want to drag this to that one. We can weld all of those down. Or if we want to drag this edge to this edge, we can weld that over and create whatever shape we're going to create over here. So that's the target weld tool. So overall, there are some really, really nice kind of tools to kind of get us into the next level of modeling, and modeling very quickly. Now when it comes to shaders, this is the last thing I want to kind of talk briefly about today. One of the big changes in shaders is the hypershade button. In years past, you would have to set one of your panel layouts, or you would have to go to Rendering Editor's Hypershade to open up the hypershade. What they've done is they've now created a hotkey that will open a whole new window. And in this window, you can see we have a lot of options. So let's create a new blend shader, and let me drag it up so you can see it. We have the same aspects. We can add presets, we can save presets. We can set these panels to customize any way we want. That's a really nice little touch. Our connection inputs are right in our face. This is more of an advanced technique, but for instance, if I wanted to attach a color to, let's open a material real quick. let's see, let's go to 2D textures and let me drag a file into there. There we go, we got our file. So what we can do now is connect the color of the file into the out color of this, and now we have a nice connection. So therefore we basically have our connection that we have previously in Maya. So it's very intuitive. If we want to delete that selection, we just highlight it, hit delete, and then we can kind of remove that from our work area. So it's a really nice new way to kind of play around with textures and see different shaders at work. Overall, those are the big changes in Maya 2016. If you can get over the aesthetic changes, the colors, the polygon simplicity of the graphic symbols that you see, you'll be off to a great start. There's a lot more changes that we'll play around with in UV texturing down the road, but this is just a good update and a good start to maybe perhaps start using your flyout menus, your creation tools with your menus, and all sorts of the different options that we have when it comes to modeling our objects. So hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will catch you guys next time.